Why the f*** are they doing this to me? I told them the truth. My charge?
Yeah, I mean...
Would she not be looking at any charges?
Shot your girlfriend.
I didn't... Okay, I'll just wait.
I'm just trying to protect my son, okay? Jesus Christ, man. We don't need an EMS. We absolutely do need EMS. No, but I don't need it. She does.
Justin Haynes was in a toxic relationship with a girl named Jasmine Perkins, and on the evening of July 29, 2019, they got into a fight. Jasmine's dog allegedly bit Justin on the leg after Justin started yelling and punching holes in the walls, and then Justin retrieved his AK-47 from another room in the house and returned to shoot it recklessly through a locked door at Jasmine and her dog. He hit Jasmine twice with the high-powered rifle, once on the inner thigh causing catastrophic tissue damage, and once in the left hand, leading to permanent loss of that hand. And in case you're wondering why he randomly owns an AK-47, this case takes place in Florida.
Mr. Haynes, I'm going to call somebody for the child in just a moment, okay? I'm just getting pertinent information from you, okay?
I don't want to call anybody for the child. It's my son. I put him in the room for a reason.
This is going to take quite a bit of time of investigating. We're not going to hurry through this, okay? So you need to get over the idea that we're just going to stop doing what we're doing. We are going to do this step by step, which means I'm going to get your information. I'm going to call someone to get the kid, and then we're going to talk to you about what happened. That's the steps in which we're going to do this because that's safest for you, safest for us, and safest for the child. So, what is your date of birth, Mr. Haynes? 3 of 88.
All
right, Mr.
I'm doing anything.
I understand, Mr. Haynes.
This girl, when she locked herself in the room with the dog, and the dog fucking bit me. If you put your flashlight on there, you can see that's a dog bite. He bit me. Okay. And I tried to protect my son, who was at a
Okay, what is the telephone number I can call someone for the child?
Everything it is that she said is going to be, she's going to go to a hospital with no problem. I'm going to the hospital with the dog bite, and I didn't do anything but other than protect my son.
Before we get to Justin and our speculation about his personality, I think we should completely expose this crime as best as we can so that his manipulative arguments and feigned concern for his son become transparent from the start. His argument is that he shot the dog in self-defense on the basis of Florida state standard ground laws. He says he was concerned about his safety and the safety of his son, and that he was trying to shoot the dog before it bit someone else, like his son. He said in his initial interrogation that he felt he was entitled to shoot the dog because it was denying him access to a room in his house.
I'm having a very hard time believing that dog being contained, that you felt this dog was a threat to you if you're trying to go back into the room. That's not a plausible, logical.
But it's my property, though. I mean, in this particular situation, it is my property. I don't feel like I should be barred from any room just because a dog and a girl that I don't like is in the room. I should be able to access it if I need to get my cell phone, if I need to go ahead and get a pair of drawers. I feel like I should be obligated to be able to go into my own bedroom without having to worry about somebody in there that I don't particularly like who owns a dog.
The obvious problem is that Justin didn't shoot the dog. He shot his girlfriend. Another problem is that the dog and its owner Jasmine had barricaded themselves in Justin's room out of fear of Justin. And after several failed attempts to pry open the door, he then shot his gun through the door, at which point Jasmine was injured. Justin's son was locked in his own room while all this was going on, so he had 2 doors separating himself and the dog. It's very hard to make the case that the dog was an imminent threat to anybody, which would be required for a self-defense argument. It's also hard to believe Justin's story about why he fired the rifle, especially as more details are brought to light, like the fact that he may have hung up on the 911 operator when Jasmine called for help, and he didn't immediately allow officers into the house when they arrived, showing more concern about facing the consequences of his actions than saving Jasmine's life. I think it's much more likely that he fired the rifle as an impulsive action in a state of rage at not being able to get the door open, and is now working backwards to build the self-defense argument.
Now, while you were talking to the 911 operator, what was the defendant doing?
Making threats, yelling at me.
All right. Was he in the room or still outside the room?
When I first got on the phone with the 911 operator, he was outside of the room. Towards the end of the conversation, he had got in the room.
All right. So if I understand you correctly, while you're on the telephone with the 911 operator, at the beginning of that conversation, the defendant's out of the room, but towards the end of that conversation, he does enter the room.
Yeah.
I understood you correct?
That's correct. He once he gained entry to the room, he took my phone and hung up on the 911 operator.
Now, what were you doing whenever the defendant entered the room?
Sitting on my behind with my back against the bed, my feet against the closet door, and I was on the phone with the 911 operator.
Okay. And were you continuing to talk to the 911 operator?
Once Justin got into the room, my attention was on him.
Okay. All right. So what happened with the telephone and the 911 operator?
Well, once he gets in the room, I believe we have a brief I'm basically saying, I can't believe you shot me. And he takes my phone, which is on speaker, and he hangs up on the 911 operator.
Can you, in this audio recording, can you hear the defendant's voice in the background?
Yes.
All right. During your 911 call with the 911 operator, is there somebody can be heard yelling in the background?
Yes.
And who is that? Whose voice is that yelling in the background?
It's Justin's.
And Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to enter State's Exhibit B into evidence and publish.
The objection to B.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
July 29, 2019, 9:31 and 36 seconds p.m.
What's the address, Mr. Murphy? I'm dying. What's your address? What's going on? Dying for what? I'm dying. Huh? A gunshot? Gunshot. Just stay on the phone with me, okay? Okay. How long did this happen? Stay on the phone with me, okay? Stay on the phone with me. I'm dying. Okay. I'm dying. Who's the person that's yelling? I'm dying. Huh? Man. I'm dying. Okay, stay on the phone. Stay on the phone with me, okay? Okay, stay on the phone with me, okay? Okay, how old are you? How old are you? How old are you, ma'am? Ma'am. How are you? Ma'am. Hello? 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 Hello?
Ms. Perkins, what were some of the things the defendant was yelling while you were on the 911 call?
He said I wasn't safe and that he'll effing kill me.
All right. Was he saying anything about opening the door?
Yes.
Jasmine claims that Justin was agitated and aggressive, yelling erratically and making multiple threats to kill her and her dog, and punching holes in the walls. She claims her dog never bit Justin. She then claims that Justin took the phone from her while she was on the line with the 911 operator and hung up. Her side of the story seems to better align with the forensic evidence of the case. But it doesn't really matter whose side of the story is closer to the truth, because the fact still remains that Justin shot his girlfriend twice with an AK-47, closed door or not. He came very close to killing her, and in fact he did permanently maim her. It's disturbing to imagine just what he might have done had she been fatally shot at that moment. Based on the evidence of the case, it's highly unlikely he would have called 911. And if his primary concern was really the safety and well-being of his son, just consider what actually transpired as a result of his actions. Take note of where the son was found.
So when I first got there, when I came up, there were a few other officers knocking and banging on the front door of the residence.
All right. Did anybody immediately answer the front door?
No, sir. It took several minutes.
Okay. Did you go to the to anywhere else in that around the home besides the front?
I did. Since they were knocking, we had there were large curtains on the front of the residence.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I decided, hey, we might as well, just in case if someone's actually shot or dying inside, go around to the side, try and gain access either through the side or through the rear.
Okay. Did you eventually enter the home?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. And where did you enter the home from? Which door?
It was through the west door. So it's on the side of the house that had like a little mini staircase leading to a platform, which led to the inside through the side of the house.
All right. Upon entering the home, what did you see?
So before I even really entered, I shone my light inside and actually saw Miss Perkins laying on the ground inside, which caused all the officers, at least on the side, to run inside. When I came inside, we saw Miss Perkins obviously shot. She was bleeding out. Saw a AK-47 on the table somewhat next to her. I also saw a little child standing kind of near her and crying and upset.
Now, I'm not saying that Justin doesn't care about his son at all. He clearly made the effort to have dual custody and be involved in the child's life, which counts for something. But the idea that he was protecting his son by firing an AK-47 recklessly just outside of his son's door at a woman and a 40-pound dog is insulting to the entire concept of logic and reason. The fact that his son was exposed to all this and was standing with Jasmine when police arrived, as she was bleeding out, just shows that even if you believe his intent was good, the outcome was decidedly not good for anyone. His actions on July 29, 2019 put his son's life and developmental well-being in jeopardy, not to mention what he did to Jasmine Perkins and her dog. All because he couldn't control his own temper, and now we're going to see him try to weasel his way out of facing the consequences.
At this point, I haven't seen nothing yet, no. Officer Britt, yes.
Did anybody take the dog out of the house?
I have no idea at this juncture. You come out of the house and the dog's walking away.
But that was the problem, officer. The dog bit me.
But we can't do anything with the dog right now, so it's locked away so it doesn't get to anybody.
But I was doing the best that I could.
Okay, but the dog is not getting to anybody right now. We'll deal with the dog later.
But I'm going to jail because the dog...
You're not necessarily going to jail at this time. Handcuffs are on for the detention and safety of everyone, okay?
It's truly baffling that Justin still thinks at this point he somehow won't be getting arrested, while his girlfriend is bleeding out on his bedroom floor due to bullet wounds from his AK-47.
Get your feet in, okay? Because we're not gonna talk to you on scene. We'll talk to you in a more safer environment with air conditioning and stuff, okay?
Officer.
Yep, not here, okay?
My son was in there. Son was in the bed.
Can I get a number to call somebody for the son?
Do you have any clothes? Do you have any like jeans or shorts or slides or anything that we can take?
In my house, I was just trying to protect myself.
Is there anything else that we can take? So you can slides, jeans, anything that...
They just want to get your side of things. We're not doing that here in the street. That's what they're saying.
We're not doing that in the street.
I'm going to take you up to the station, and then they're going to talk to you.
Where's my son going?
That's why I was trying to get a number to call for your son.
I know, but I don't want to utilize the number for my son.
We're not.
Notice he doesn't want to provide the officers with a contact to come get his son. This is because he still has hopes of not getting arrested. Therefore, he doesn't believe anyone is needed to take the child. Further, he intends to use the child as a sort of bargaining chip, and withholding the contact is the first sign of that.
Mr. Haynes, what's a what's the telephone number I can call your mom or a cousin or somebody or an aunt, anybody that we can to come take care of the child for, well, this is just...
Off the top of my head, okay. I would have to get my phone.
Don't know mom's, anybody in town's number?
Officer.
We'll work it backwards to the resources we have. Get your feet in for me, okay, please? Because you're going to the station, please.
For what, though?
Because they want to talk to you about what happened today. They want to hear your side of the story. The investigators, not me.
The dog.
I can't do anything because I'm just the helper with this. I'm not the guy that's investigating this. Someone at the police station who is investigating this will want to hear your side of it. That's why we're going there, okay? But not here right now, not in this moment, because there's...
Can you tell me, boss?
I have no idea where he is. I assume that they're calling somebody.
Officer, I will call.
Then get your feet in if you're going to cooperate.
I will.
Thank you.
Will you please tell me where my son is?
I assume that he's with a police officer at this time in safe custody.
Can I at least say goodbye to him?
I don't think that's necessary right now, okay? You're going to get to see him again and talk to him.
Anywhere.
Right, but I don't think that that's healthy for the child right now, okay? So you've got blood all over you. That's scary. You're in handcuffs. That's scary. That's not healthy for him, okay? We'll let you talk to him in a little while, but right now we're going to take you to the station, okay? Not right now. Not right now, you're not. I'm sorry. That's not healthy, okay?
Please.
No. That's not up for debate.
I would just say goodbye and leave.
I don't think that's necessary at this time, okay?
Manipulation often occurs in stages. He pleads with the officer to let him see his son, stating he'll just say goodbye and then leave. Of course, were this request to be granted, he would immediately have new requests and goals upon being reunited with his son. Getting himself out of the police car is merely step one toward not getting arrested in this moment, and he's using his son to try to break down this initial barrier. It's not going to work.
We're going to be leaving. That's why all these cars are clearing out. We're going to the station, okay? And I think that's reasonable to talk to the officer at the station who's investigating this. Not me. I'm not the one that's investigating this. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't have any juice in the matter. See all those guys standing over there? Those are all my bosses. They want you taken to the station.
I do. Can you please consult with them? I just would like to say goodbye to
them. I'm gonna talk to them that you would like to talk to your son. I assume he may be taken to the station as well. Maybe that can be facilitated there. I don't know the circumstances, okay?
Taken to the station. He's 3 years old.
Well, we're not gonna leave. We're not gonna leave him here, right?
I know that.
Right.
Well,
so,
will you please let me at least say goodbye to him?
I don't know the circumstances of that because I don't know when I have an answer for you. She's going to get rolling though, Mr. Haynes.
From here, it's just a bunch more circular logic from Justin as he attempts to manipulate the officers. So let's fast forward a couple hours to his interrogation at the police station.
I'm certainly not going to run off on you, but is there any way to loosen or...
Yeah, what we're going to do, the reason I asked you if you're left or right-handed is because we're going to let go of the one on your right wrist. We're going to hook your left wrist to the chair here, okay? All right, so... Are you injured at all?
I was bit by the dog, but I'm okay.
Okay, is that blood on your leg yours?
I don't think so.
And your hand is not, that's not your blood?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Alrighty. That's your water?
Yes, that's his.
Okay. Alrighty. Do you need anything?
Do you want me to redo that cuff so you can spin it around, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
If you could.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm around.
You comfortable, or are you good?
I'll be okay.
Okay. You just holler if you need anything, okay?
Alrighty. If you need anything, yeah, just shout out and we'll be right there, okay?
How long will I be in here?
I can't give you an answer. It's going to be until it's done.
Well, okay. Officer Norwood said that my son would be coming up here.
You know anything about son? We'll find out.
From what I understand, he is being brought up here. We'll keep an eye on him for now.
Okay.
All right, if that's all right.
I mean...
And do you know, is there any way to get in touch with his mom?
There is, but I don't know if I'm going home or not tonight.
Okay. Do you have full custody of him?
We're in the process.
In the process. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Fair enough. We'll try to abide by that. Whatever agreements or whatever you're trying to do with it.
It is my week with the baby.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Your week. Okay, so her week would be next week.
Correct.
You guys alternate every 7 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I guess your week just started then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll try to be as accommodating with that as we can, but we do need to talk about what happened, if that's all right with you.
I understand.
And, you know, we've got a lot of stuff to take care of before we even do that. So,
are you going to be the one that speaks with me?
Yes. Okay. I'll be with you in just a minute, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you hurt at all?
The dog did bite me.
Okay.
But I don't need any medical attention.
Okay. All right. Just want to be sure of that before we get started, okay? If you do, we will get medical treatment for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
All right, we'll be just outside, so like we said, if there's anything you need, just shout, okay?
You'll be able to hear me with the
We'll be able to hear you.
So, there's currently no public information documenting any known mental health factors in this case, and any speculation on my part is just that, speculation. Justin's personality and behavior, however, do align very well with an expression of narcissistic personality disorder. We'll continue to see an inflated sense of entitlement, especially when his mom arrives, but we also see manipulative goal setting and impaired ability to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others, as well as antagonism and attention seeking. He greatly overestimates his ability to manipulate the detectives, he clearly asserted interpersonal dominance over Jasmine, and he is very self-centered and condescending toward the officers during his arrest. These are all classic expressions of grandiosity. But back to the interrogation, where Justin has managed to make it nearly a full 12 minutes without moving or talking. If you only knew at this point what the next 24 hours had in store for him.
Yes, ma'am. How soon do you think I might be able to talk to somebody? I'm just concerned about my son.
Talk to somebody like...
Anybody about the situation that happened tonight. I mean, I was bit by a dog. I just would like to be able to express my side of the story. I don't know if I can even be able to link up with my child.
Well, like we said, your son should have been transported here. Again, I will find out for you. As soon as I know where he is, I will let you know. You will be able to talk to anyone that you want to, one of us here. That's why we're here in this.
Well, I mean... I understand what you're saying, but well, I mean, obviously, you're not going to be the one to talk to me.
We're both going to talk to you.
Do you have any idea when that's?
It's gonna take some time, so just be patient with us.
You said he's going to be transferred up here.
He should have already been. I heard them call.
Where would they put him?
I'll find out where your son is. Okay.
I'd like to just be able to state my side of the story.
Okay. We'll see if we can expedite some of this stuff, okay? But again, you just gotta be patient, okay? All right. Give me a few minutes, all right? I'll find out about your son.
Thank you.
It's very telling that Justin doesn't know that talking to the police in this specific situation is only going to hurt him, especially when you consider that his mom is Florida Circuit Court Judge Barbara Hobbs. Now it's obvious where the sense of entitlement in regard to the law comes from. It's even more revealing that his mom actually comes to this interrogation to represent him. For real, she'll be here in like 2 minutes. And she goes ahead and advises her son to tell the whole story to the police. With her knowledge of the law and position of authority, it's absolutely clear that she intended to work with the officers to get this case thrown out, or at least to have her son come home with her that night rather than be sent to jail. It's not entirely clear that she knew all the details of the case, but she certainly wanted to insert her influence into the outcome. Had she been properly representing his true and fair interests, she would have advised him to remain silent. But we'll get to all that soon.
Hey, do you... Miss Hobbs is down in the lobby.
That's not good.
To represent you as your attorney. Is this something that you want to happen or not?
Absolutely.
You do? Okay.
Your son is here. He is doing fine. They found some way to show him Dora the Explorer, so he's good, and I believe your mom is also with him.
Okay.
So,
is she coming back here?
I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you for doing that.
No problem, of course.
Before we go on to dissect Justin's story and behavior, and lambaste him and his mom for trying to use her position to evade charges, it's only fair that we acknowledge his humanity in this situation. It's unlikely that Justin fully understands his motivations for his own behavior, and we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that his inability to control his temper isn't a personality trait he asked for. It was his responsibility to fix it before it caused harm or damage to someone else, and now he has to pay the consequences for that. But it doesn't mean that he's just a totally bad person in every aspect. He clearly does have at least some real concern for his son.
You're in your boxers. I don't want you to talk to your mom in your boxers. So they're a
it.
little big, but they should be better than wearing underwear.
I appreciate that. Have I been charged with anything at this point?
We're working that out.
About my charges? My charges?
Yeah, I mean...
Would she not be looking at any charges?
Shot your girlfriend.
I didn't... Okay, I'll just wait.
Yeah, talk to her, okay? You know, that if she's your attorney, talk to her, okay? I have to go talk to Jasmine. And we are going to serve a search warrant on the house, so collect whatever evidence is there of what happened. All right. I'll just go ahead and ask you. The dog involved. Whose dog is it?
That's her dog.
Her dog. Okay. That's the one that bit you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. One other question. Is my attorney going to be able to come back here? To see me?
Yeah, I'm about to bring her up here.
Okay.
You whenever you're ready.
Yeah, well, whenever.
It's your mom, so
I know,
it's a little different than the average scenario.
I'm pretty sure. Okay.
All right, and the conversation obviously is going to be privileged. We're not going to record it or anything like that. Talk to your mom, okay?
I understand.
All right.
Did you catch the sigh of relief?
To see me?
Yeah, I'm about to bring her up here.
Okay.
He tries to play it off like he's nervous about seeing her, but it's more likely that he's incredibly relieved once he gets confirmation that she's on her way up. The psychological pressure of the isolated interrogation room will immediately evaporate the moment he makes contact with his mom, who he views as a higher authority than the detectives. Now, I want you to watch for two things in the next segment that are going to give clear insights into Justin's personality and behavior. Notice his demeanor when his mom enters the room and asks him about the dog, and notice how he acts when she leaves.
Hey, Justin.
What type of injuries you have?
The dog bit me on my...
Is this the same dog you lied and said had left?
Picked up tonight.
Pardon me?
The dog was supposed to be picked up tonight. I'm not here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Can I talk to her for a second?
I'm going to.
We're gonna. Yeah, you'll be able to talk here in a second.
Can I talk to you?
Yes. Just want to take a picture of the.
We need to take pictures of your injuries first. Okay. And then you have the room to talk to your mom.
First, we see the bowed head and lowered voice in submission to his mom. This is about as remorseful and ashamed as Justin gets during this entire interview. This really shows that he views his mom as being above the officers interrogating him in terms of authority, since he submits to her but not to them. And at the same time, it shows a complete lack of ability to measure the different levels of severity between lying to mom and shooting his girlfriend. Next, we see the momentary panic he suffers when his mom leaves the room. Despite the fact that he was told just 11 minutes ago that he would have a privileged meeting with her as his lawyer before any questioning begins, he acts distraught when she walks out, as if he thinks that was the whole meeting. It's almost as if he thinks she's so angry about the fact that he lied about the dog that she's refusing to help him and just leaving him there to rot, which again shows the lack of ability to measure severity. Just watch again and notice his fear of abandonment.
Is this the same dog you lied and said had love?
Supposed to be picked up tonight.
Pardon me?
The dog was supposed to be picked up tonight. I'm not here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Can I talk to her for a second?
I'm going to.
We're gonna. Yeah, you'll be able to talk here in a second.
Can I talk to you?
Yes. Just want to take a picture of the.
We need to take pictures of your injuries first. Okay. And then you have the room to talk to your mom.
I said earlier that Justin displays grandiosity, but he also displays behavior typical of someone with the vulnerable narcissism construct, which usually lacks overt grandiosity. His fear of abandonment and hypersensitivity to criticism, like when he takes the conduct of the arresting officers personally, suggests that he has a combination of both grandiose and vulnerable narcissism, which is uncommon but not unheard of. There's some question in the literature as to whether narcissism is even a multivariable construct at all, but it does seem to express in either one or the other variant.
I mentioned you. I mentioned you.
Coming?
Did they mention you?
Who? No, they mentioned me. I would have been very upset if they had.
Do you want to be present while we speak to him?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You're welcome to sit next to him.
Sure.
I'll move your chair around. Okay. So just so you're aware, the recording is now going. And having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to me about this now?
Yeah, tell them the truth.
So, this is kind of unique. You know, your mom is also your lawyer, all right? No matter how far into this you get, I'm sure she's explained this to you, you can stop, okay? I'm not going to push you to do anything you don't want to do, okay? And we'll go through it as much as you want to or as little as you want to, all right?
Yes, sir.
If for any reason you don't agree, because family's family, I understand. This, like I said, this is more emotional than just your typical.
We can proceed on.
Okay. All right. So, how I understand it is, from what you've told officers so far, is that the dog was attacking you. You were scared and shot.
I was in fear for my life. The dog had already bit me at that time. There was some type of disagreement. I don't even know what the circumstances for the disagreement was, but she had so-called barricaded herself within the room with the dog.
Okay. And this is
being the deterrent for me to come into the room. She obviously knew that the dog was upset, because she was upset anytime I've dealt with her, and the dog, and she gets upset. The dog tends to mirror her emotions. I went in the room to try to speak with her about what was going on. The dog immediately got upset and disgruntled. She tried to restrain the dog at that point, and I reached into the closet to try to go and get something out of the closet.
Mm-hmm. What were you trying to get out of the closet?
Just some clothes. I was just trying to put on some drawers and a shirt. I didn't have anything on at the time.
Okay.
Jasmine claims that at this point Justin was already irate, and when he went to the closet, he said, "Where's my gun?" That doesn't mean that her side of the story is 100% accurate. We don't know whose side of the story is more accurate, but it's good to always keep that in mind when we're listening to the opposite side.
So I went in there to try to retrieve some stuff. In the process, she's trying to restrain the dog because she's arguing with me, and at the same time the dog is upset.
What was the argument over?
Because she didn't feel that it was appropriate that she was not able to come to the house.
Okay. This is not a house where she lives, correct?
No, it's not her house. It's where I stay. Okay. They've already told her that she's not welcome at the house. There's a trespass order against her at the house.
Okay. But you allowed her there initially tonight?
I allowed her to pick up the dog.
Okay.
There's a trespass order against her at the house. So in the process, I allowed her to come in and retrieve her dog. She decided to stay longer than it is that it would have taken to take the dog from the house.
Jasmine claims that there was no trespass warning ever given to her, and that she had been staying at Justin's house each night with her dog for several days leading up to the night of the crime. When police arrived, she was entirely naked from the waist up, with only a pair of underwear on her lower half. Justin claims they didn't have sex on the night in question, but states that they did the night before. So his story, that he was basically trying to kick her out, makes little sense, especially when you consider the following message, sent from Justin to Jasmine just 9 days prior. July 20th, 2019. If I could ask for one thing for my birthday, I'd ask that you please call me. All I'm asking is that you hear me out for the last time. Please. Now, relationships are messy, and this doesn't prove anything, but it certainly suggests that Jasmine maybe wasn't the crazy one of the two, and also makes Justin's ensuing character assassination of her seem pretty flat.
In the process, she lingered around, stayed in the living room or whatever, ended up coming into some type of confrontation with me. I don't even know what it was about, but I'm assuming it was the fact that she could not be at the house because of what my grandfather and my mother told her about coming to the house. And this has to do with cutting my tires and doing all kinds of other things at the house. So I was explaining to her that this is not going to be appropriate. You have to take this dog here. From here, I can't watch the dog anymore. Anyway, she got an attitude about that. She goes into the...
When did you have that conversation? I'm sorry.
This is just prior to...
So in person?
Yes, sir.
Did you communicate this at all by phone? Earlier? Like,
absolutely, absolutely. Okay. I told her, and I'm not sure if it was via text or a phone call, where it is that I told her that it was inappropriate.
The reason I'm asking is if there's any kind of proof to what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to know it. So if there's cell phone communication between you two.
I can't remember if there were text messages or not. I would have to reference my phone, but I know it is that I told her that it was...
Even call logs, yeah.
I believe there is a text message that indicates that I was not cool with the dog and that we needed to be... If the dog was going to stay any longer than it is as she intended, that we needed to be careful about it, because they didn't want the dog there, and I didn't personally want the dog there because he's a liability.
Okay.
At that point, I indicated to her that...
Why is it that you... Let me just ask this. Yesterday I went by the house on my way to church, and I saw the dog in the yard. I went through the roof. So I know he had to get rid of that dog.
Right.
She made it very clear that the dog needed to go.
Okay.
At that point, I indicated that to her earlier in the day, or at least at anywhere from lunchtime to closing time, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
That the dog was not welcome at the house, and that she would have to make other arrangements as far as keeping the dog. She said something about being Airbnb, and that's what her house was doing, and that she couldn't keep the dog at the house because due to obviously her rental situation with Airbnb. Once it is that we got into an argument about the dog, she decided to barricade herself, in that's my words, barricade herself within the room to where it is that I couldn't access my own bedroom without having to go through her or the dog.
Justin's lost all pretense of being genuinely conversational and has become highly performative. A common behavior we see with narcissistic personality disorder is the deliberate or forced use of big words where they don't belong, sophisticated language that's uncharacteristic or inappropriate for the setting, or technical jargon which isn't always well understood by the narcissist or used properly. We see all of that with Justin. Perhaps most prominent is his use of verbose past tense phrases while telling his side of the story, like saying, "when it is that I had told her," rather than simply, "I told her." You'll notice that he does this constantly, and it's a clear tell that he is building a narrative. It's actually instinctive behavior for human beings attempting deception to increase their verbiage to give their mind more time to construct a narrative without accidentally revealing what actually occurred. The mark of a good liar is one who can do so without the extra words and irrelevant tangents. This suggests that Justin has met very little resistance to his compulsive lying throughout his life, since he might have gotten good at it if he had. But it's clear that delivering a coherent and plausible narrative, true or not, that the police can at least pretend to accept is objective A in Justin and his mom's mission to defuse this situation and avoid consequences. Hence Justin's performance. Again, had they truly intended to let this matter go to court, they would have exercised Justin's Fifth Amendment rights.
Okay.
I go into the bedroom to try to go ahead and talk to her about what it is that's going on and removing the dog from the house. Dog is disgruntled. She is restraining the dog in this kind of manner, right?
Okay, so she's got it like around the body, the neck?
Around the neck.
Okay.
Trying to keep the dog from advancing. Anyway, I go into the room, try to retrieve whatever it is that I retrieve from the closet. The dog bites me on the leg.
Okay.
From that point, I retreat out of the room. I leave the room, shut the door behind me, and I immediately go and grab, I guess would be the AK that's in my house.
Okay. Describe that gun so we know which one it is.
It is a Kalashnikov, an AK-47.
Is it like a short barrel type gun, a long barrel, 16-inch barrel type gun? Does it have a stock on it?
It's got a stock.
It's a rifle. Okay.
Yes,
all right. What color is it?
It's a wood stock, and it's a pretty much black gun.
Okay.
The handgun it is that I usually keep in the house happened to be in the closet, so I didn't have any access to that, so I retreated to whatever it is that I had to defend myself against the dog.
And where did you say you kept the AK?
It's in another bedroom, close to the bathroom on the other side of the house.
Okay.
A spare bedroom.
So you retreated from the bedroom because you couldn't go any further to get your pistol.
Correct.
So you retreated from the bedroom, went and got your AK-47
from another bedroom.
From another bedroom, and came back to this bedroom.
Yes, sir. It's
okay.
a 4-bedroom house.
Okay.
In the process, when it is that I tried to go back in there and ask her to take the dog up out of here, because the bedroom that I share is adjacent to the bedroom that my son shares. It's right across. There's a bathroom here, my bedroom, and his bedroom. So when it is that I opened the door, the dog was sitting right behind the door again, right behind my bedroom door.
Okay.
So when it is that I open up the door, the dog is right there. Shut the door. I ask her, Jasmine, take the dog up out of the house. I'm telling you, I'm serious. The dog has already bit me. Shoot. Through the door, in my intention is at the dog. Right?
Okay.
Because at this point, I don't want my son to walk out of the room who was just behind me, not even 2 or 3 feet from behind me, in defense. So I shoot right through the corner or the lock of the door, right? Okay. At where it is that I perceive the dog to still be. Upon doing that, she starts yelling and blah 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 blah. You shot me, and I didn't see the dog after that since I was apprehended and everything. But my intention was to go ahead and deal with the threat at the time because I was in fear for my life and obviously for my son's life.
Was the dog trying to get through the door?
Yes, the dog. So
there'll be scratch marks on the door.
I don't know how you would say the dog is trying to get through the door, but he can jump, and he scratches at the door. Even when you let him out to go and urinate out on the back porch, you can hear him scratching at the door and jumping to do so. Okay. So while I was outside of the door, the dog is whining, doing the kind of whimpering sound, and scratching at the door as well as jumping at it. So when I come back to the door, it's the process of him doing all of that, and I basically just reacted.
The detectives in this case have a noticeably professional demeanor. They're on their best behavior, so to speak. There are very few manipulative interrogation tactics used, and Justin is afforded much more respect than he might otherwise be if he didn't have his mom present. Toward the end of this video, we'll get a glimpse at how he's treated once she leaves. But for now, I want to skip ahead to a point where the lead detective actually starts to give Justin some pushback.
Well, I don't want to keep playing games with you. I respect your mother a whole lot. Okay.
Well, officer, I'm not trying to play games with you either, but that is
my true, honest belief is you were mad at this dog and you shot the dog or tried to shoot the dog in anger. You didn't intend to shoot her. I'm not saying you're even capable of wanting to shoot a person unless you felt that they were an imminent threat to you. I'll give you that one. Okay. I don't take you for someone that would just willy-nilly shoot somebody. All right. You're not that type of person. But you've been drinking, emotions got the better of you tonight, and I wholeheartedly believe you shot at that dog on purpose because you were mad at the dog, not because it was a threat to you.
I do believe it was a threat. It wasn't my intention to be mad at the dog. It's just a dog, and I take care of the dog when she's not around. Okay. I come home every day to walk the dog, to take him out, to let him use the bathroom. I feed the dog. I provide water for the dog. I don't hate the dog because I own a pit bull just like that particular dog.
Why? I hate the dog. It bit me.
But he only bit me tonight. He's never bit me before. Even if he's had altercations with I wouldn't say altercations, but if he was too playful with my son, that's not reason that I would want to shoot him. I have no hostility towards the dog. The dog is a dog. But once he bit me, at that point I was in fear.
The fact that it bit you isn't even the biggest problem with this dog. It was abandoned in your house by a woman you don't get along with.
What do you mean abandoned, though? She knew good and well.
Oh, I mean, she left it there for 4 or 5 days knowing that you weren't allowed to have a dog at your house. I call that abandonment.
I'm not sure he didn't know he wasn't supposed to have a dog until yesterday.
Well, they
told me about the insurance policy.
Right, they didn't want a dog.
Yesterday?
Yesterday,
okay.
On my way to church. I was driving down the street, taking my mother to church, and I saw this dog in the yard.
How long have you lived there?
He's been there for
8 months.
Yeah.
8 months, and you were never allowed to have your dog there?
Well, I've never been able to have a pit there. There was a dog that lived next door who was basically wild and was living next with a lady who didn't take care of the dog at all, and they didn't have any problem with me keeping that dog.
Okay. But it wasn't a pit bull?
No, it wasn't a pit bull breed. It was more like a canine, if you will. Well, not canine, but a Labrador.
Okay.
The dogs popped off being difficult yesterday because I told him, get your ass out of my house. Either you or the dog go.
Okay. At that point, I let her know that the dog couldn't stay at the house because the jig was up. We had to come get the dog. Can't keep the dog here anymore. She did not like that. She didn't like the fact that she had to remove the dog from the house. And basically, when she came over to so-called retrieve the dog, she just stayed. And lingered, rather. I wouldn't say stayed, but she just lingered.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter was, I mean, you guys were both disrobed, for whatever reason, and I think her staying there was something more of an invitation than just to retrieve the dog. Be that as it may.
Okay.
All right. You argued. The dog bit you. But I'm having a very hard time believing that dog, at any point, you tried to get back into that room where the dog was being contained, that you felt this dog was a threat to you if you're trying to go back into the room. That's not a plausible, logical.
But it's my property, though. I mean, in this particular situation, it is my property. I don't feel like I should be barred from any room just because a dog and a girl that I don't like is in the room. I should be able to access it if I need to get my cell phone, if I need to go ahead and get a pair of drawers. I feel like I should be obligated to be able to go into my own bedroom without having to worry about somebody in there that I don't particularly like who owns a dog.
Another thing you might start to notice with Justin is that when he's making an argument, his tonal expressions are characterized more by desperation than confidence. He often drags out the words toward the end of his sentences and adds some voice inflection that sounds a lot like whining. He even sometimes adds an extra syllable to single-syllable words, almost like he's pleading with the investigators to accept his story rather than genuinely trying to convince them it's true. He's whining because they won't give him what he wants, even though he nearly killed a girl and everything he's saying in defense of his actions makes absolutely no sense. This is what entitlement looks like. Now, entitlement is a personality trait that's linked to various personality disorders. So it's a trait that we often see expressed in people with mental health challenges, but that doesn't mean that anyone with a slight sense of entitlement automatically has a personality disorder, or vice versa. And just because Justin displays signs of NPD and entitlement in the limited footage used for this video, it's important to remember that this footage was all taken in one night under highly unusual and stressful circumstances. We're merely speculating, as we'd need much greater exposure to Justin on a regular basis in order to make any concrete assumptions about his personality. All the speculation in this video is based solely off the footage that we have available.
It wasn't my intention to try to harm the dog because I don't like pit bulls, but the dog had already bit me significantly enough to where it is that I felt that this dog was a threat.
I mean, whether I'm in my underwear or not, whether I have my cell phone or not, have access to any kind of communication or not, I am not going to put myself back into a room where a dog just bit me. Bar none. There's a locked, closed door between me and the dog. I know it can't get through. I'll walk next door, knock on the door of the neighbor's house and say, hey, I need to call the cops. I need to get this crazy whatever out of my house along with her stupid dog because it just bit me. And then we would have come, removed her from your house, probably arrested her for trespassing because you kept telling her to leave, right?
Absolutely.
And taking the dog as well.
I'm not going to argue with that. You're right. Okay. The better judgment would have been to just call the police and have it dealt with.
I mean, part of something being a threat to you is not putting yourself in harm's way, which is what you did. But
the dog is ultimately in the house. If I had walked away to go and take a piss, right? Excuse me. But to go and use the bathroom, and my son had opened the door, based on the circumstances at the time, it wouldn't have been a situation where I would have just called the police and had them summoned to the house or however long that would take it. My son likes Jasmine, or the young lady who was at the house. He likes her. So if he had opened up the door to try to see what was going on.
Now feelings are getting in the way, okay? When it comes to stuff like that. You're talking about something that's a threat to you and your son, get him out of the house. Simple as that. You go next door, you use the phone, you get him out of the house.
Well, I won't argue with that. Right. I definitely probably could have used better judgment.
And your son's behind a closed door, this dog's behind a closed door, you go and get your rifle and start shooting through the door. That's I don't know what else to say about it.
My son is old enough to open up doors. My son is old enough to open up locked doors at this point. At that particular time, when it is that I retreated away from the door, I felt that he was at danger because he likes this young lady, and if he had opened up the door in consequence of trying to see what was going on, I felt it was a liability to him as well as me at that particular time. It wasn't a situation where I was looking at it like, I'm just going to shoot this dog because I'm upset with the particular dog.
Yeah, but it's not an imminent threat at that point. Your mom knows the meaning of the word imminent.
I'm very aware of what imminent threat means.
I've seen dogs.
But imminent threat is the reason why they are insurance.
That's enough. Like I said,
imminent threat is the reason why insurance is the way that it is about pit bulls and Rottweilers and these things, is because you never can predict the personality traits or any of the nature of these particular animals. Once the dog had bit me at that point, the dog needed to be removed from the house in one way or another. If my son had opened up that door and got mauled after he had already been knocked down, in my opinion, that's too far for me to be...
So you wanted to remove the dog with the AK?
No, that wasn't my intention. My intention was to get the dog out of the house, period.
Okay.
The AK was only as a result after I had been bit by the dog, and she has already told me stories about her ex-fiance being mauled by the dog.
Okay. But you're trying to remove the dog with an AK-47. I mean, that's
not necessarily. I'm trying to eliminate the threat.
Did you have a plan? I know that you grabbed the AK-47 for just in case. Okay.
Absolutely.
Did you have a leash for him?
I don't have a leash. It's not my dog, so I didn't.
But you had been taking care of him. So when you did you have a fence in the yard when you let him out?
It's a fence in the yard.
But when you went back to the room, your intent, you said, was to get the dog out of your house, right?
Not necessarily to get the dog out of my house, but to get her to peacefully remove the dog from the house.
Okay. And you were afraid that your son was going to open the door and end up in the middle of a dangerous situation.
Well, at the time, it was loud. It was boisterous. There was enough noise going on that he was hollering and asking what's going on. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I felt the need to go ahead and be the barrier between his room, which is here, me, and the dog. So if he were to come out of the room and I was elsewhere in the bathroom or getting the AK, he could have just as well gone in here and been harmed as a result of it. My thing is, after he had bit me, the dog is, as far as I'm concerned, is rabid. You know what I'm saying? He's a danger to anybody in the house other than the person that owns the dog.
Could you have gone into your son's room and closed the door? Rifle in hand and all.
Probably could have. I won't disagree with any of that. I could have probably handled the situation.
Now there's two doors between you and the dog.
Absolutely, could have been handled differently.
What are your doors made of?
Plywood. Yeah, it's not much.
Solid wood door.
It's not a solid wood door. It's just yeah.
Okay.
They're very thin. You could drill very easily through the doors.
Okay. But they're intact. They shut. They lock.
They do. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We're going to serve a search warrant at the house. We are going to seize phones and everything else for the communication aspect of it. We're going to seize blood evidence, shell casings, firearms.
Yes, sir.
And I guess we'll figure out what to do with the dog.
Where is the dog?
I haven't even seen the dog after the fact.
I think it's been handled by officers on scene already.
Okay. So
it's not in your house anymore, I guarantee that.
I honestly didn't even see the dog after after I shot through the door. I didn't even see the dog again. I don't know if he hid. I don't know what happened. All it is that when she was bleeding and hollering for help, I immediately tried to get her to the door and see if we could get medical attention for her, and the police were already there. As soon as I opened up the door, they were there and they apprehended me.
Okay. Well, I mean, she claims there was an argument on whether or not to call the cops, and ultimately she made the decision to call when you wouldn't. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, there's truth to it. Absolutely. She called the police after she was, I guess, shot. Because I didn't hear the police called at any other time during the argument other than when it is that I had tried to fire at the dog.
You misunderstand his question.
What is it?
Did you argue with her about calling law enforcement?
No. There was no argument. There wasn't even a discussion about law enforcement at all during the initial argument and subsequent to the argument. Once it is that I had shot already, then at that point, she decided to call the police.
Okay.
How many times did you shoot?
Twice.
We were standing when you shot?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay. How tall are you?
About 6 foot.
Okay.
The other problem we have too is the dog is not hit once; she is shot twice. You said you fired 2 shots. You hit her with both shots. So
I couldn't see behind the door.
Right.
And that was not my intention to shoot her. But I'm assuming that because she was behind the door, ultimately the dog happened to be in the proximity or was in the area of where it is that I intended to shoot, if that makes sense.
Well, based on the map, she would have been directly behind the dog.
No, well, she was in the bed. Right. She was sitting here. Once I had come in here and gotten bit by the dog trying to enter the closet,
right.
She was sitting in the bed. I didn't know whether or not she was in the bed or not, but I had fired 2 shots this way towards the door, and apparently in that barrage of shots, she was hit.
Well, we put the rods and everything through that door and everything else. That's what it's going to show, right?
Yes, sir.
That you were aiming towards the closet?
Not towards. I mean, I was firing towards the door handle itself in a downward.
Away from the bed.
And the last place you saw was
not towards the bed, but away from. There's like a little area here. I guess that's unspoken for. There's a little area here, and I tried to fire in this direction. I guess, like you said, towards the closet. Mm-hmm. That was my intention, and not towards where it is that I last saw her.
When you opened the door and saw the dog sitting there, and then you shot it immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long was it before you shot? 1 second? 20 seconds?
You saw the dog. You went and got the AK and came back and shot through the door, correct?
I opened the door. Let me say, I had the AK, open the door to see if whether or not she was, or what was going on in the room. Noticed the dog was there, shut the door immediately, tried to talk to her or whatever. The dog kept barking, and I just shot 2 shots through the door.
Okay.
How long do you think it was, that between time, while y'all were?
Between the shots?
Well, yeah.
Maybe a minute, 30 seconds, maybe a minute at the most.
And you had told her to get the dog and get out, right?
Absolutely.
As you're yelling through this door.
Yes.
AK in hand, you're yelling through the door, come get the dog, get it out.
I don't believe she knew I had an AK.
Right.
But yes, that was my intention.
You did.
Yes.
So you tell her to come get the dog, and then you shoot at the dog. Right.
Not in that fashion, but.
That's what you're telling her is to get the dog and get out of the house.
Correct.
And then you thought it was a good idea to shoot at the dog. Then I'm not saying you tried to shoot her. Okay.
No,
that's not what I'm trying to say. Is that in the heat of the moment, what you're telling her to do is in direct contradiction with you trying to defend yourself against this dog and shooting at
what I'm telling her the second time it is before I let the barrage of shots off is that the dog bit me. Your dog just bit me.
Right.
You need to do something about this dog. The dog is out of control. Bang, bang is how it basically went down. At that point, I wasn't interested in her taking the dog out of the house. If you will, I wanted to deal with the issue.
This is a mess. Okay, this is an absolute mess.
They start to go around in circles as Justin keeps reiterating the same points and the detectives keep not buying them. And there's actually 8 total hours of footage. So I want to go ahead and skip now to the part where Justin's mom tries to use her position to get Justin to not be charged or booked that night, or possibly ever. This was obviously her goal the entire time, because again, if her goal was to properly represent her son under fair circumstances, she would have advised him to stay quiet. But she chose to take the angle of cooperation with the detectives in the hopes that they'd reciprocate her good faith and cooperate with her.
Like I said, I don't think you're a bad person. I don't think you intended to do this to her. Right?
That was not my intention, no.
Right. Okay. But, there are consequences for what you did. Okay? And you're going to have to face those consequences. All right? I'm going to have to talk to her, too. She's told us a little bit about what happened.
Okay.
And she did say there was an issue with calling law enforcement, I guess because, I don't know, if you were scared, whatever. She got help.
That hasn't been an issue. She's called law enforcement numerous times on me. And I don't know if you can check TPD, but there's
okay.
But I mean, just for frivolous things, though.
All right, that's enough, Justin. Okay.
Do you want to talk to him again, or?
No, like I said, I know about pit bulls. I got one that he's attacked dogs and tried to kill people. They will kill if they think if their owners being attacked. Because Zeus will Zeus will kill you. He thought I was sitting in the kitchen one day and I screamed, just being stupid, and the dog came in there fully in position to attack, and it wasn't nobody in but me.
Right. I get it. They tend to be an aggressive breed.
No, they're very protective of their owner. I am now the owner. I've been the owner for the last year. So I'm hoping y'all don't charge him tonight or whatever and finish your investigation.
We might not have a choice. He might be charged tonight. So.
What am I being charged with?
You know, at this point, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon comes to mind. Possibly attempted murder based on what she tells us. So, I know what you're telling me. I'm trying to shoot the dog. Fact of the matter is, she shot. The dog isn't. There's an argument beforehand. A lot of emotion, a lot of anger going on inside the house. I mean, I'm not saying that the charge will change later, but that's what I'm thinking right now.
Is it possible that you can finish your investigation before you charge him? He ain't going nowhere. I live here.
Right. He's going to stay right there until we're finished with the search warrant, until we're done talking to her. So he's going to be held until that, and then we will determine what charge exactly. But right now, you know.
So what I'm saying to you doesn't bear any weight on.
Oh, it does. It does.
But what you're telling me is that I'm going to be charged for trying to defend myself from a dog who has already hurt someone and could potentially, and not potentially, but hurt me and could have possibly hurt my son. What you're telling me is that I'm going to be charged for attempted murder because of this?
No. Because
or aggravated battery because of this?
I don't believe that's what happened. That you were simply defending yourself.
You don't believe that?
No, I don't. I'd be lying to you if I said I did. I don't. You shot through a closed door at a dog. You said it was a threat when you were trying to get back into the room.
But it is my house.
You put yourself back into a situation. It's the same thing with staying your ground. It's the same thing with everything else.
Not in your house, though.
If you put yourself back into the situation, okay?
So if
there's no element of fear.
If a person came to my house to rob the house with a dog, and I shot through the door to try to kill the dog who was trying to rob my house, am I looking at attempted murder for that?
Okay,
or aggravated battery for that?
No, that's enough. Excuse me.
But that is hardly the case here.
How is it hardly the case? I was trying to defend my son who was behind me.
Okay, all right.
Listen to your mom.
So you can see the very human side of a fed-up mother who has been here one too many times with her son as she begs him to stop talking. But we're about to see her launch into her attempt to take control of the situation, and her aggression toward her son could just as easily be read as a play to make the detectives feel like she's on their side. She first states that they shouldn't bother charging him because she doesn't think it will lead to anything, and since it won't amount to anything, they'll just be damaging her reputation for no reason. She also argues that they should let Justin out of custody because she'll have control over him. She says he'll be going to her house and nowhere else. Another argument she makes, which ends up being a sort of last-ditch effort, is that, quote, her children shouldn't be in the jail, alluding to the fact that there might be some safety concerns for Justin since his mom is a judge.
In the meantime, if you would like to speak with him, given our decision now, you're more than welcome to do so.
What decision is that?
Right now, he is under arrest. Okay? Again, we haven't searched the house yet. We have not done a detailed interview with her yet. Okay? I'm sure there'll be holes in her story too. Okay? And again, the stuff I'm talking about, the forensics evidence and all that stuff, we still have to do that. Okay? Like I said, that could change, but you're not going anywhere until something does change. Okay?
What holes in the story of mine?
I've tried to explain that to you already.
No, but you
leave it alone, okay?
I'm going to be the one who has to sit in here asking myself these questions. What holes in my story
Justin,
other than the fact that I was trying to defend myself against this young lady?
Okay, listen. I'm not sure exactly what he has to do. He's in his home. He's in a place where he has a right to be. So we'll.
This is exactly my point. Like, I should be able to defend myself.
Excuse me. I'm asking you is just not to put the charge on him until you're there. It's just a whole ramification of doing that. Is all I'm asking.
And yes, I completely understand your concern. But if a felony offense has occurred...
Wait, can I just make sure I understand this?
Justin, will you please just be quiet?
I just want to make sure I understand.
Okay, wait, please.
Don't interrupt me.
Okay, please, just be quiet. Just lean back. Lean back.
If there's evidence to believe a felony offense occurs and I have probable cause for that felony, I have to make the arrest. You know that. I mean, I'm bound. I can't let someone with a felony go if there's probable cause for their arrest. We will.
What is the probable cause, officer?
Justin,
I can't say nothing.
Just leave it. You're not going to change
anyone's mind. You done got my story, but I can't even ask you what the probable cause is.
I will say this. It'll go through my supervisors before any charge is written and any booking is done. It goes through my supervisors. It goes through probably our legal advisor at this point. And it will go through the state attorney's office as well. So I do have checks as well. If there's any reason they find that shouldn't be the case, or he gets arrested tonight, okay. That's the only reason, though.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
If someone with more authority than me to charge says don't charge him, that's what I'll do. But at this point, you know, I think we have to hold him.
Say something?
No, just listen. Okay.
But I gotta sit here and just hold on to what it is that I wanted to ask.
Okay, you're being recorded. Let's get.
Do you want to consult with her first before you ask me more questions?
Not at this point. I just want to know what it is that the probable cause is to charge me for what you're intending to charge me with. What is the probable cause?
He's already told you.
He hasn't told me.
That you're not acting in self-defense and you shot a woman in your house.
How do you know that?
A guest in your house.
Okay. Based on what it is that I've told you, what makes you think that I didn't shoot in self-defense? If I open the door to my own...
Listen, arguing is not going to help the situation, okay?
Arguing is what court is for.
I'm assuming that you've already made up your mind then, in that instance. So arguing with you is not going to make a difference.
Right now, no. Not from you. No. I will say this. If some more light is shed on this that could possibly affect...
What more light could be shed if you've already made up your mind?
I mean, that baby was standing there. So he was there and out in the open.
He was behind the door.
All the same, the baby can open the door.
Be quiet. The baby was sitting there. The baby told me. The baby's telling you that he saw the shoot. I mean, I've just said the baby was...
saw blood. He was eventually out of that room. I mean, you know, there's time elapsed between the time you shot me.
All I'm saying is that if the...
Okay, that's enough. All right, you've told your side of the story.
Right.
The officer doesn't believe that you were in fear. And the only issue I have is just charging him with something that potentially will not, you know, it's not going to go forward. That's all I'm saying.
Right,
because the sticks is there.
And I will
I'm just saying that, I mean, he's not going anywhere. He is not going anywhere.
That's not the problem, though.
Just be quiet. He's not going anywhere. The booking is the issue.
I understand that, and trust me, I will tread lightly when it comes to that. I promise I will give him every benefit I can to not have him booked into the jail tonight.
I would really appreciate that.
I know you would, and
I mean, you can ultimately he can get the charge. It's just getting booked in under the charge, and it conceivably, because I've been down this road for 30, 40 years, and I don't think that it's going to go very far. But the fact that he's been booked in will go very far.
Okay. I understand that. I understand that completely. I would want the same
especially when he shouldn't go to the jail. I know there's an issue about my children being in the jail.
Right.
So.
And that's a decision that also is above my head.
When I say my children, I'm not trying to curry favors. Just that I got people in the jail that don't like me and truly don't find out who he is.
That is a major concern for me as well. If there is any association between him and you, obviously it's a concern.
His name is the same as mine.
Right. So obviously that is a huge concern for us as well, and I don't want something ill to befall your son because of a bad night. Okay.
I can't say anything.
No, just give it a break. Just enough already. Just settle down, okay? Let him do his job.
I didn't intend to shoot this girl. My intention was to go ahead and deal with the threat. My son is almost 4 now. He'll be 4 in October. He's capable of opening up the door. He was screaming the entire time. I understand what you're saying about there's not a threat, but the dog, if she even went out of the door to try to leave the house, the dog was still a threat to me. What you're saying is basically that the dog was not a threat just because he was behind a door. If she decided to go and take a piss, it's still a threat to me. The dog is the problem, not.
Is there anything you want to discuss with him outside of our presence?
No, I need to go. I guess.
Okay.
But I'm trying to figure out. Do you have any timeline at all in terms of this evening?
I wish I could give you an accurate one. I haven't even. I've written a paragraph or two of my probable cause for the search warrant for the house. So. By the time it gets written, approved, signed by the judge, and then we're serving it at the house, I mean, we could be looking at daylight. It takes a while.
Okay.
So, I'd like to tell you a couple hours, but I can't.
That's fine. I don't know, because I need to go home. Can you turn that on?
Yes.
Notice the trick that was just played by the detective. She pointed to his tape recorder and asked him to turn it off, and he obliged. But that's just his personal device. The room's audio is still recording. Now she thinks the audio is off, and she continues to try to press for Justin's release.
I need to go home because I have a child. I'm not going to figure out how I'm going to do that tomorrow. But I'm asking you in terms of when will you make the booking decision? Like I said, I don't care about the charge.
Would you like me to call you?
Yeah, I don't necessarily care about the charge. It's the booking process. If there's a way that this man can be given some sort of appearance, because he ain't a threat. He ain't going nowhere. I mean, he's going right now because his grandfather has just evicted him. Going to be at my house.
Okay.
He's not going. He's going to be at my house, so I'm just any kind of.
I think the nature of the charges would be first appearance required. That's like I said. That's a decision.
Listen, boy, be quiet. Just be quiet. I mean, is it possible for me to pop?
You want to talk outside?
No. Okay. All right.
Do you need another water or anything?
Like another water, but
I'll get you another water.
This is crazy, man.
Now look, we have to give his mom a bit of a break. While her behavior was highly unprofessional and ethically questionable, she actually didn't break any laws. At least not on tape. And she's already being reprimanded as a Florida Judicial Ethics panel sees fit, so she's facing consequences. Any one of us should be able to recognize the very human quality of her mistakes. She's a woman who loves her son. The panel agrees unanimously that her actions were, quote, misguided but not ill-intentioned. And who am I to disagree with a judicial ethics panel on matters of ethics? Judge Hobbs is otherwise, by all accounts, an upstanding voice in her community and a scrupulous, professional person. She made a mistake here. But it could be argued that she made an even bigger set of mistakes somewhere along the line, which led to the development of a narcissist who doesn't even feel bad about shooting his girlfriend. Narcissism is often thought of as a construct that's heavily influenced by developmental circumstances, such as parenting with too much praise and rewards, or not enough. Since we don't really know anything about how Justin was raised, we can't speculate too much on this, but we do get some rare insight into how he interacts with his mom when they're alone before the audio cuts.
Alright, so Justin, you don't need to talk anymore. You're not going to correct these people anything differently than what's going on.
Full of shit. Why the fuck are they doing this to me? I told them the truth. That's the truth. Okay. I drew a diagram.
Okay, well the deal is Justin, this is where we are, and there's nothing I can do to help you at this point. Okay? I don't know what we're going to do, how we're going to handle this.
After the failed attempt to rescue her son from consequences, Justice Hobbs leaves, and we get a glimpse into how Justin spent the rest of his night and the next day. He doesn't suffer nearly as much as Jasmine Perkins, who I'll remind you again is permanently maimed, but he has a pretty rough time. He's also being charged with attempted second-degree murder with a firearm, shooting at, within, into, or in a building, and attempted animal cruelty. The case is ongoing. We'll end the video by watching a few mildly interesting interactions between Justin and a few different officers, but if you've enjoyed it so far, I'd be humbled by and grateful for your support in the comments below, or by liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Thank you.
Can I use the bathroom?
Yeah, just give me a second, because obviously I can't take you, so just give me a second to get him, okay?
You gonna use the restroom?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna place these in front. That way you can use the restroom. Take very small steps, because they will hurt if you try to take too long of a step. Another shirt if you can. I can find a sweater for you.
Yeah, that might be nice.
Have a seat right here.
I gotta be cuffed to sleep though?
Yes, I have to cuff you to the chair. I'm sorry.
Okay, well I can be cuffed to the chair, but do I gotta have them left?
Yes, you have to have those on as well. I'm sorry, but I can turn this chair. You are allowed to prop your feet up if you'd like. I'll position it. Let me get the handcuff to this you know, this first.
Is there? I mean, I'm not obviously going to be able to get away, with life restraints, but is there any way to loosen them or open them a little bit?
They're all. This is as loose.
Tighter.
Okay. I can loosen that. Those are as loose as they go. They're only one click in. So, I can't make them any more loose than that. But this I can prevent from tightening. Okay. All right.
I mean, I intended to lay on the floor anyway, so.
I can't let you lay on the floor, okay? There is a camera in this room. You have to be in view of the camera. All right.
Well, can I lay within view of the camera?
This is in view of the camera. You have to be seated in the chair. All right. I'm sorry. You can lay your head down on the table if you'd like. You can prop your feet up on this chair. That's about all I can offer you.
A little sleep. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it. What was your name again?
I'm Jerry Megna.
Magna?
Megna. M-E-G-N-A. Okay.
Thank you.
This chair is softer. So if you want to put your feet on this chair.
If I have to use the bathroom or anything again, do I just knock on the door?
Just holler out or knock on the door, and someone will come get you to go to the bathroom, if it's not me.
Do we know for sure she's not going to be able to use her hand again?
I've been told she will lose her hand. Okay.
See this over here. See you there. I got you. Rotate your wrist. However you want. Both of these and this, I mean, absolutely necessary at this point. I'm not going anywhere.
They're absolutely 100% necessary. Well, I trust that you have no intentions to get up and walk out of here. Which hand do you want?
Free?
Yeah.
Can we give this one a break?
You want this one free now?
Yes, if so, because it's rough on the wrist.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's policies in place. If someone's in custody here, they have to be on both leg irons and secured in some fashion.
When I came in, they didn't have leg irons.
No, when you came in, you didn't, but once you're up here, they have to go on.
Okay. And if I can trouble you with one more question.
Yeah,
you said in an hour.
Investigator Magna is on his way back up here. He's primary on the case.
Okay.
He's on his way back up here from your residence where a search warrant was served. So once he's back up here, we should be within the next 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
We should be about finished up. We'll do that more. Okay? You want this wrapped around you? Yeah, do me a favor. If you're going to lay down right here. Not behind or underneath the table. Okay? So, however you want to do it. If you want to stretch out your legs, sit in the chair and stretch your legs out this way, or whatever, just lay down here. It's not underneath the table. Okay? All right.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen who came in, you said about an hour. I have no idea what time it is in here.
Okay.
Is there?
Do you want me to tell you what time it is? Would that help you with something?
That and
it's 6:43, 6:42 maybe. Just sometimes this drags a minute.
Okay. Is there anything anybody can tell me about what's going on?
Yeah, you're going to be transported to jail in just a little bit.
To Leon County Jail?
Yes, sir.
What about my mom's situation? I'm apparently not going. I'm not supposed to go to Leon County Jail.
No, you're going to Leon County Jail. There may be some arrangements that'll be done later on that, but we don't have any ability to transport you to a different jail without any other special arrangements because we're in Leon County, so that's where we have to deliver people.
Okay. So
something can be done about that later. Your stuff would be exempt and you could be kept away from general population and things like that. But right now, that's where
we don't really have another option.
Okay, do you have an idea how long that will be?
I don't. It won't be much longer, but I don't know. I can't promise you a time.
Okay, and first appearance, is that what I'll be looking
You'll
at?
have to go first appearance at some point, yes, sir. Okay. I'm pretty certain based on the charge, and I have had little to nothing to do with your case. I just came into work this morning, right? So what it comes down to is I do know what the charge is. You're being charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and so that's going to probably more than likely involve the first appearance requirement. Any other questions I can help you with?
I guess we can't turn the light off or anything.
No, we can't turn the light off.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry. All right.
Mr. Haynes? Hey, how you doing, sir? I'm Jason Newhouse. I'm going to be transporting you. I don't know anything about your case or anything like that. Oh, let me have to get up there. Held up? Yeah, I don't know anything about your case, so I don't know. Can't answer too many questions. I'm just your ride. They already searched you and everything?
Nobody searched me, no.
No. Do you have anything on you?
No. Everything's closer.
So I'm going to move these. Let me take this off first. I didn't got to twist this out.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to let you know. I don't know what this does anybody, but...
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's not good. I'll let those guys know. I'll actually leave it off so they can see. Okay, if you'll turn around, we got to go behind your back. Here with these. If you keep your hands like this, the handcuffs won't dig in right there on your wrist. You know what I mean? Gotta keep your knuckles together. That's the best way to do it like that. And you double lock them so they don't get any tighter on you. Let me check. There's nothing on you, huh? Okay, turn this way. Okay, I'm going to take those hands off your legs. You can sit down and watch your wrist. Don't sit.
Anything on Jasmine? Any word on her situation or condition?
She is probably going to lose her left hand. I told you that before. That's the extent, the biggest injury she sustained. Luckily, it wasn't more serious than that. But she's going to be permanently disabled now. Yeah.
This chair's broke.
I'll let your mom know what your charges were already. Okay, so I guess just wait for her to do her thing.
So when I go down there, they'll put a bond on me.
After first appearance, they'll decide what the bond's going to be.
Okay.
All right.
And the charge is aggravated battery.
With a deadly weapon, that's it. That's the only charge. Okay, it's a second-degree felony.